Split is the new film from M. Night Shyamalan, which has had critics everywhere saying, well, it's a film that's going to split audiences, isn't it? So it's described... Shyamalan is still, I think, best known for Sixth Sense, although I would hold that Unbreakable is his great piece, and that's an interesting spectre in the particular case of Split. So it's described in the press notes as an original film that delves into the recesses of a man's fractured mind. It's about a character played by James McAvoy who has a split personality. I think he has 23 split personalities. Now, let's be clear, this is not incidentally a twist. One of the things about the film is, whereas M. Night Shyamalan became very famous for doing movies with a twist, there was always up to a certain point and then a thing happened, oh, that's the reveal. In the case of this, the reveal is at the very beginning. From the very, very early on, it's revealed that he is a split. The title itself says Split. Now, split personalities, multiple personalities are absolutely cinematic staples. So, Psycho, Primal Fear, Me, Myself, Irene, Switchblade Romance, Three Faces of Eve, Ninth Configuration. And, it's something which filmmakers use over and over again. And so here, James McAvoy is the central core of 23, I think it's 23 personalities. Betty Buckley is a psychiatrist who believes that somehow if you believe that you are somebody, you can physically change the person. So for example, you can have multiple personalities in which one of them is a diabetic and one of them isn't. You can have multiple... This is kind of explain that idea. At the very beginning of the film, there is a kidnapping of 3 young women who are then by McAvoy in one of his characters. What then happens is that they find themselves dealing with 23 different people. Patricia, who is a woman who is prim and proper and sort of seems strangely controlling. There is a young man who calls himself Hedwig, who appears to be a child, and who we'll hear from in just a moment. There is another who is a sort of camp fashion designer who sort of appears to be more in control than perhaps you would think. Anyway, here's a clip of James McAvoy in the Hedwig personality.
My name's Hedwig. I have red socks. He's on the move.
What?
He's on the move.
Who?
Someone's coming for you, and you're not gonna like it. You guys make noises in your sleep.
Tell us.
I'm not supposed to say. But he's done awful things to people, and he'll do awful things to you.
The funny thing with Shyamalan is this: when Shyamalan started his career, Sixth Sense was really sort of brilliantly well received, and got great reviews and did really, really well with audiences. And then Unbreakable, which I think is a fine piece of work. I have a soft spot for The Village, although some people really can't get their hat on about that film at all. I can just about manage Signs. Then there was The Lady in the Water, which is a terrible film, and for some reason included a character who was a film critic who was, viciously dispensed with, which confused everybody because it was like, but up until now, people have been nice about your films. I mean, this is a terrible film, but it's like you've kind of judged in advance that they're going to kick this one. The reason is that it's really, really terrible. And then, Happening and Last Airbender and After Earth and all that sort of stuff. So he did go into a slump in which he appeared to have completely lost his mojo. Then there was The Visit. Low budget, stripped down, going back to the roots, doing it on his own. Now, I did not like The Visit. I'll be absolutely clear about this. But I know enough people that do like The Visit who didn't like those other films that I was mentioning before to think, okay, he's obviously pulled something out of the hat with The Visit, because I know loads and loads of people whose opinion I respect who did think The Visit was creepy, who did think The Visit was quite scary, who did think The Visit was a bit of a surprise. In the case of this, again, it's a sort of self-financed, relatively low-budget production. Centrally, one actor playing 23, he's not playing all 23 of them, but there's 23 meant to be in there. High concept idea in which it's revealed at the beginning what the high concept is, and obviously during the course of it, rather than there being twists, there are going to be revelations, there are going to be things that happen in the plot that you didn't see, but that's not necessarily a twist as such. So I applaud it for those things, and I enjoyed McAvoy's performance, and he obviously enjoyed himself. I mean, who wouldn't? It's like that whole thing about, hey, in this particular role, you can do a whole bunch of different people, and who wouldn't enjoy that? And he's the kind of actor, he's got that slightly wicked smile, he's got that slightly, there's just something about him. He's a little cheeky and a little bit dangerous, but also funny. He can do enchanting, and so his performance is really enjoyable. That said, it didn't quite work for me. I found sections of it dragged. The script is not brilliantly written. The script, some of the dialogue is a little on the ear-scraping plot exposition side. And although you can see where it's moving toward in terms of its denouement, I found where it went to slightly unsatisfying. However, having had a long period of just finding M. Night Shyamalan really quite annoying because I knew that he could make better films and he seemed to be just making bad films and getting worse, I do think that returning to his roots, stripping things down, going back to what he has control and he does best if this was a B movie and you didn't know anything about it, you didn't know anything about Shyamalan, you didn't know anything about, Anya Taylor-Joy, who is the sort of the other star of it, he was so brilliant in The Witch and so brilliant in Morgan, and I think she's really good in this. You would forgive the fact that there are moments when suddenly everyone has to run around in their pants because you just think, oh, well, it's because it's a B movie. That sort of moment strikes a very, very different chord in the light of it being actually a production by somebody who's had a fairly stellar career in the past. So if you just saw it with no sort of preconceptions, you think it's a fine sort of William Castle-y, twisty psychological thriller of the type that we've seen before, but executed with a certain amount of panache and raised up by James McAvoy's performance. It's not brilliant, but it's not bad.